Damn Instagram is driving me nuts.
Where to Hunt podcast. Where to Hunt podcast. It's okay.
Hi, I'm Dan Small, host of Outdoor Wisconsin, and I listen to Where to Hunt.
Nah, it's okay.
I'm Kurt Geyer with Working Class Bow Hunter. I listen to Where to Hunt podcast, and it's decent.
It's all right.
Hey, this is Bud Fisher with Catching Deers, and I think the Where to Hunt podcast is all right.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Where to Hunt podcast, the podcast that connects public land hunting enthusiasts, aka the okayest podcast in the Midwest, coming at you from the Okayest Hunter podcast studio. Be sure to head on over to okayesthunter.com, entering code W2H podcast for 10% off. Give back to conservation. Damn it! I was so close to the finish line. Give back to conservation, have fun, and put an end to buck shaming.
Sounds great.
Holy Santa Claus poop. Right there, man. Could taste the victory. I also could taste the scotch.
Attaboy.
And I'd have to say it's pretty damn good. How you doing, Greg?
Good, Eric. How about yourself?
Good. Good. Thanks for scaring all the deer away on Friday.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime you want someone to just go in kamikaze and wreck the whole thicket, I'm your guy.
It's like, I thought I heard something over the other side of the marsh.
Deer just bouncing everywhere.
Although, you know, I did have some squirrels that had my heart racing for half a second. I was like, duh, you got me. First sit of the year. All right.
We got it out of the way.
Well, actually, second sit of the year because we hunt in January, but, you know, you get the idea.
Yeah.
First sit of the season.
Yep. First sit of the 2020 official tag season.
Is your deer from 2 weeks ago processed already?
All processed. I'm just waiting for CWD results, and that's it.
Then you're going to dig in?
And I'm going to dig in.
What's your first meal going to be?
Probably a loin on the grill.
Okay. So
Down and dirty, quite simple.
Are you
loin
gonna,
on the grill?
You gonna like invite me over?
Well,
do you want to use the pit boss?
Oh wow!
Should we do like a Tuesday special next week?
See, if we do a Tuesday special,
You're not gonna be here.
There's gonna be some family involved because they're gonna want a taste of that too. So we're gonna have to maybe strategically figure this out a little better.
All right. I might just get my own deer, I guess, and do it my damn self.
No, I don't have a problem sharing.
Do you want to play some ads?
Let's play some ads.
Should we go with this one or this one? You pick. Which one? You push the button.
already
Well, I
did
guess I
this.
pushed the button.
You did it.
Wake up and smell the coffee. Backwoods grind coffee, that is. Now, this ain't your fancy schmancy city boy coffee. This is what your grandpappy used to drink. And lucky enough for you loaf-around slack asses, they got a subscription service. Deliver any of their 6 blends right to your door, even a sampler. I like the Fireside blend, nice and dark. But they got something to suit every one of your tastes, light to dark and everything in between. Backwoods grind coffee, for those who work hard and play harder. Take a look at your feet. Are you wearing Gumleaf USA boots? If you said no, you gotta reevaluate some things. Each pair is handmade and tested to take over 1 million flexes. These boots will take just about anything you can throw at them. Use promo code W2H2020 for 10% off your final purchase at gumleafusa.com.
So I'll do the code and then you'll do the ad.
Do the code.
Backwoodsgrind.com, W2H podcast for 10% off. Just get some of their coffee. It's good. You're going to like it. You won't be disappointed. You'll probably thank us. Like everybody else.
Slack ass you.
That's right. Get it done. Get some freaking energy going, you know?
Put that discount code in the ad, would you?
I thought about it and then I just didn't do it.
Way to go.
Yeah. All right. What do you got? You got...
Yeah, I got Vector
that hat
Custom
on.
Shop. Yeah. So if you're looking for a custom built to your spec arrow, look no further than VectorCustomShop.com. See, I already jacked
Custom
it up.
Vector Custom Shop.
Yeah. See, now we derailed the train. VectorCustomShop.com. If you can order a test pack of 2 different types of arrows if you want, weighted to your size, or weighted to your requirement, I guess. Your spine and whatever you want to do with it. 2 different spines, whatever you want to do with it. See, I'm already jacked up. And give them a test flight. See which one shoots best for you. And then once you figure out what shoots best, you can go with a half dozen or a dozen arrows. And then from there, when you go to check out, use code WHERE2HUNT, and that'll save you 10% off anything on VectorCustomShop.com.
That's a big deal. 10% off of their stuff. That's going to get you pretty far.
Every little bit helps.
All
It's
right.
not a cheap hobby.
No. And, you know, before we bring our guest on, just as we're in the front of the show, let's get some things out of the way here. September 30th, only a few days away, we're going to announce our giveaway winner. We still have to get one more thing. So surprise, we'll figure out what that is in a couple days. If you'd want to learn more, just go to our website, wheretohuntapp.com, go to the giveaway page, and you can sign up. It's pretty straightforward. You pay $5 a month, and that gets you into a drawing every 3 months. So, and don't worry, the prize outweighs the cost by a lot. The value of these prizes, I think for the next one, we're like north of $500 for sure, at least. And then when you sign up, you're going to get a koozie and a sticker. So like, that's kind of cool. What else? There was one other thing. Oh yeah. And if you want to share like a memorable hunt with us, you can do that. If you want to share a shot of the week story with us, you can do that. There's a link in our Instagram bio, or you can just send us a message and we'll help you out. No big deal. So that way I don't got to like sit awkwardly in front of the camera every night waiting for someone to tell me a story. Come on, tell me your story. It's like I'm just in the sewer waiting.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Pennywise. Who we got tonight?
So Derek Malcore with the Great Outdoors is joining us tonight to tell us his story of the buck he just got. And I don't know, I haven't heard it yet. I think you have more details, so you can probably guide the questions.
I've got a little bit of details,
You got
but
some context?
I don't want to give it all away.
All right. Derek, you're live officially. We unmuted you, so welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for having me. How's everybody doing?
Doing great, man. Excited to hear your story and how it all played out.
Yeah, it's been a bit of an interesting fall here. As you guys know, the last time I talked to you on the show here, I think we were still up in Peshtigo, me and the family, and just kind of mulling over a move down south. And now we're all moved in and settled in to our new home. So it's been a kind of wild summer of trying to figure out where in the heck I'm going to spend most of my fall hunting and in the woods. We actually did a big woods talk the last time we were on here.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
It's definitely been a little different, trying to figure out these southeastern Wisconsin woods and what little woods there is. So it's been fun this summer. I've been trying to run a lot of trail cameras just to figure out, which properties I want to focus on. And it's been a learning curve, there's a lot more deer down here and they're more concentrated. But what I found was in the summertime, man, my trail cameras, the first time I put them out, I was disappointed. I was putting them in all the wrong spots. So used to up north and getting them deep, back in the woods. And I thought these spots were awesome and I checked them and man, I had nothing on my trail cameras. So I was almost getting a little bit disappointed in myself. And I actually talked to Greg and he was talking about getting some decent pictures. I think he was near a bean field or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, man, pull your head out of your butt, Derek. Like, get out of the woods.
Yeah, man, it is a totally different.
Go find some summer deer.
Yeah, it's totally different, and like you and I had talked back and forth up in the North Woods. I mean, really the better food sources are probably going to be acorns, or if there's any kind of green food source. But Northwoods deer do a lot more browsing on brush and whatever they can find. And our deer down here do too, but you got a big food plot anywhere you look. If it's corn, if it's beans, if it's alfalfa. I mean, I know for a fact deer will feed on green corn. They don't necessarily eat the cobs as much, but they'll eat the green leaves. I've got them on my trail cameras eating green leaves this year. It's crazy. But if you can get on an edge of a bean field like you did, and you got some phenomenal footage, just as I did, it's kind of a no-brainer. Your food plot is right there. You can see the trails coming to it, and if you can get permission to set up on a bean field, if it's bordering or if it's on public, that's a feather in your cap.
So you're saying it's like because of Greg that you had some success this year?
No, it wasn't because of me. No, not taking that.
Yeah, in talking with Greg, though, it definitely pointed me in the right direction. I think I was just, so excited and so gung-ho to get out there and attack the woods that, you find some historical buck sign.
Yep.
And my cameras were in the right spot, just in the wrong time. If I had them up, mid-October through November, I'm sure, there was going to be deer running through there. It just, I was way overthinking it, and I had them there at the wrong time of year.
Sure. Are you planning on keeping any of those cameras out, locking them up and keeping them in those areas? Or are you going to pull them?
Well, I did readjust some of them already just to figure out some earlier season patterns.
Sure.
But for the rest of the season here, now that my buck tag is used up, I definitely plan on letting some soak. I'll probably do some readjusting quickly, hopefully before even the beginning of October here.
Yeah.
And try to leave some in some areas that I normally wouldn't run them even, get in there, throw them up, and just leave them for the whole season so I can kind of really gain some, bedding area intel and in those spots that I found. That's my goal here in the next couple of weeks, I guess.
Perfect. Never stop.
And so where are you at now? Like you had moved, you sound like Greg last fall. He was like going through all this similar chaos, moving and all this and that, right in the cusp of deer season. Where are you at now?
So we got a house in mid-July. We were able to close on it and move in. We're in West Bend, and I'm working in Hartford at the high school there. And so far, so good. Job's going well. House is working out great. We're all settled in. I actually got a whole bunch of my deer heads and shed antlers from the cabin up north, which was kind of weird taking them out of there. But my dad could use the extra space anyway. So I got them all in the basement. So it's a little bit of up north, down south now. So, we're settled in. Family's enjoying it. I'm enjoying it, learning lots of new little pieces of property, but learning nonetheless.
That's cool. West Bend's not terribly far from an area that I would hunt when I lived in Pewaukee. I haven't been there in a while now, but I used to hunt, what's it called? Monchez Park, which is kind of by like Holy Hill. Mm-hmm. And you feel like you're up north over there, but obviously you're not. There's some good properties that way, but hard to think about how to navigate them because there's so much hunting pressure,
Yeah, and that's what a lot of this summer has kind of been is like, I'm scouting for deer, but I'm also you're looking for tree stands and entry through it, trails, and cat eye tacks, and trying to figure out which properties are getting pressure. And I don't know, running around in the summer, it didn't seem too bad. You find some stands that have been left up, but I noticed in the last 2 weeks before bow season here, man, the human traffic on my cameras just picked up like crazy. And I know you guys dabble with mock scrapes a little bit, which is something I've always done with my trail cameras. And this last Sunday, I took my son with me to go check a camera I had on the edge of a bean field after Greg's inspiration. And I had a nice mock scrape set up and got pictures of some guys walking over it. And they must have really liked my mock scrape because I got about a dozen pictures of him hauling in a ladder stand and setting it up within 15 yards over my mock scrape.
Darn it all. Oh, gotta love it. That's one of the challenges of hunting public is you never know. I mean, you see the sign. So if there's other guys walking around and if they're wise to it, they see the sign, well, might as well set up here. What's even funnier is it's you made a mock scrape and they looked at it and said, well, deer are using it, so let's take advantage of it. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, and not to knock that guy, he, like you said, he found it, and I had it near a white oak tree that had acorns. So
beautiful money. That's money.
What.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I had my camera, up in the air, and you just didn't see it, which was fine, and it kind of worked out because. So my son and I, we walked in there and I could see some boot tracks, so I kind of wanted to get that camera out of there because it was on the edge of the field. I didn't want to get it stolen.
Right.
And all of a sudden I saw the ladder stand. So I was like, hey, Gus, that's my son's name. I said, Gus, somebody's got a tree stand. You want to go see it? And so he's looking at it and he's playing on it, and he thought it was the coolest thing that there was a tree stand there, and I had my climbing stick to get my camera, so he's climbing up on there, and Dad, let's look for deer. And it was just a fun day of, we got to check the camera, and it was disappointing to see the human pressure, but like he was really into it that day and looking for tracks, and that kind of set up the day, because then I was just, happy all day. And it turned out that night was the night that I got my buck. So after we went home and, checked the cards, I decided to go elsewhere for the evening hunt because of all the human pressure. And that day of him kind of being into hunting is kind of what led me to shooting that buck, because it was a nice buck, and I'm very, very happy, very proud. But typically maybe I'd, let him walk a little later in the season just so I could hunt more. But he was so into hunting that day that I thought, man, if I got a buck tonight, that might be the icing on the cake that really hooks them and gets them into it.
Absolutely.
It just worked out that way.
Yeah, I would totally do the same thing. I think, if I knew my one of my kids or a niece or a nephew was all excited about it, and then that opportunity is there, it's pretty hard to pass that up, because then it's like, it's a memory that's going to stick with him for a long time. I'm sure he's 3? Yeah. Is he 3 now?
Yeah, he's about 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 3.5.
Yeah. So
that's indelible. They'll remember
it's to the point where he's going to remember some of it or a good amount of it. And that's going to be a good memory for him. And you guys did a great job of taking some pictures and kind of documenting it. And now he's going to, you put that picture up in his bedroom or whatever, or on the wall, it's in the hallway or wherever. Every time he walks by that picture, he's just going to remember, I got to climb a tree stand, and I got to help Dad check cameras. And
he'll post it in 20 years, Throwback Thursday, my old man, Father's Day or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, totally.
Man, my dad was a killer.
Yeah, he is.
That's awesome.
But it's great stuff, man, and that's what's going to keep the tradition going.
So let's hear it, man. Like, maybe not the hunt specifically just yet, but let's lead into it. Like, you had done a couple hunts prior to that. Like, let's hear the story, dude. Let's hear kind of how it happened. My dog is barking up a storm.
Yeah. So after I'd readjusted some of my summer cameras that were really fall cameras, I readjusted them to some new locations, and I started getting some nice buck pictures. And my second card pull, I think I pulled 5 cameras one day in 5 different properties, and everyone had what I would consider a shooter buck, like 3.5 or older.
Nice.
So I was feeling pretty good about that. Couple nice 10s in there, nothing gigantic, but all bucks that I would be very, very happy to take my first year in a new area. So going over ideas with buddies, and talking and sharing pictures, I was excited. And opening weekend, I don't know, I didn't get out, both days. It was a little bit rainy. I hunted that night. It was a little misty Saturday night of opening weekend. I kind of went to an off location that I walked through. And I didn't have any cameras there, but there was an apple tree a couple 100 yards away. And I thought maybe, the wind was just not good for any of my better spots. So I tried that, had a bunch of guys in there close by at near dark shooting pistols, and it didn't work out. And I threw a couple hunts here and there, and none of them were really at the locations that I had kind of pinned down. I just didn't want to burn anything out yet, and it was still a little warm, so I really didn't see any deer. Not until this past Thursday. I did a hunt in a good location that I scouted with my buddy Dave, and we felt pretty good about the area, and there was a couple acorns on the ground nearby, and it was a little windy, and there's an edge of a little thick pothole of marsh. Nothing big, but just a little pocket that holds deer. And I had some decent pictures there. And right about at dark, right when the sun was setting, still about 20 minutes of shooting light, I heard a branch break down there on the edge of the marsh, but I never got a look. So I don't even know if it was a deer, but my assumption was that it was, and then it just came out of the marsh and headed into the wind, and I was a little bit off. So I was like, well, maybe it was a deer, maybe it wasn't, but I've been throwing some hunts, and here I was expecting down south all these deer. I'm going to be covered up in deer every hunt. I'm getting a little bit like, what am I doing? Like, I suck. I can't see a deer. I can't get a deer in front of me. And I thought it was going to be so easy. My dad's like, oh, yeah, you're going to have deer everywhere. And here I am, 4 sits in, haven't seen a deer yet, and I was like getting a little bummed. And I didn't hunt my best locations yet, but still.
So you're experiencing how I feel like just all the time.
Hey, one of these times we just gotta do something to up your confidence. I mean, I don't care if we have to have you hit one with your car. I mean, that would be an okay as hunter move.
Drive around all night.
Drive all around.
You wouldn't believe what happened.
You're totally gonna get one.
I got one. My truck is ruined, but we're good to go. There's no meat I can use. All right. Sorry.
Anyway,
when I see truck tracks going through the hayfield, I can just assume that's you guys, huh?
Not me, just one guy. One guy.
So Sunday rolled around, and I was going to hunt in the morning, but my wife had just gotten back. Her cousin got married in Arizona, and she was maid of honor. So she got back on Saturday. So I was like, well, I can't really go Sunday morning, and she just got home. I feel bad. And I wanted to hang out with her. And so ended up not going Sunday morning, even though mentally, I had the stand picked. I had, the wind was perfect. I was like, in my head I was going, and then I decided not to, which eats at me because I, always planning and thinking in my head.
It is hard.
Our wives will never understand that we do want to hang out with them, but we also want to hunt. We want to do both things.
It's the deer hunter struggle, man. And if you want to be there for your wife, you're trying to be a good family man and do the right thing.
Right.
And my wife will bust me too. What are you thinking about? Oh, I know what you're thinking about. Rolls her eyes and walks away.
I'm like, I got to tell you something. She goes, it's about deer hunting. I'm like,
yeah.
Damn it. Well, but you got to hear it.
Yeah. Mine's pretty patient. She'll listen to it for a little while.
What else am I going to talk about?
Yeah, what else would it be about?
Right.
What do you think I'm thinking about?
Well, it ain't fishing season, so kind of is, but.
Yeah.
There's a dilemma. All right. We keep interrupting, which we're good for that.
No, that's good. So I said, okay, I was planning on going in the morning, and since I didn't go, I get a free pass for the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
She was nice enough to say yeah.
Good.
It was supposed to be, a pretty strong southeast wind, and I had a spot that I'd driven by, never walked it, but I'd driven by it going to another location, just one side of the property, and you really can't see it. It doesn't border a road, so you can kind of look across a private field. I could kind of get a lay of the land as lowland. It looked like a couple big trees out there that might have been oaks. And I studied it on the map for a while, a couple different nights. And it looks like a no-brainer spot. Like, where you're going to hunt, like, there's one area that looks good to anybody who's kind of, seen these marsh spots before. And so I pulled up Sunday pretty early, probably around 1:30, 2 o'clock. And there's already a truck in the parking lot. And he had the big jacked-up Chevy with the tethered stickers, the bow. I mean, the whole back window with all sorts of hardcore deer stickers.
You're pretty confident. You're pretty confident he was a bow hunter, but you're not quite sure.
I'm not positive, but it's a strong intuition is telling me he might be out there bow hunting.
He might be.
And I parked. It's a big parking lot. Well, for the spot, it's a couple spots, and I put my maroon Honda Odyssey with the Bigfoot Search Squad sticker right next to him, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And so
love it.
So I loaded up, and I didn't know where he was headed. There's like a main walking path that kind of heads in, and I don't know. I just hoped that he was heading back that way, and I cut across a big CRP field in the opposite direction, and I'm walking into the wind, and I get down kind of close to this corner where I got to turn, and I get to the private field that I couldn't see from the road. That's kind of on the northern edge of the property, and I see it's corn, and it's kind of stunted corn, so it's a lot of low spots with little corn. I'm like, well, hey, that's good. They're probably feeding in that, so that's not going to hurt. And I know the other side is a hay field, so it's nice and green. All right, food on two sides for sure. There's going to be deer in here. So I start walking along the edge of that field across some grassy stuff, and there's trails cutting in and out going into the corn. So I just decided every trail I see coming across that grass, I'm just going to follow it to the ditch where the cornfield starts, and it's all, low spot, wet, muddy area. You can see the tracks real easy. I'm just going to check those tracks, and that might tell me where to hunt. So I get across the first 5 or 6 trails, mostly doe and fawn tracks, and finally I get a little bit closer to the edge of the swamp, and the last trail right on the edge got a nice big track in it. I'm like, all right. I'll look a little bit further to get a better look at the track, and there's a boot track following that buck track. I'm like, all right, did somebody shoot one? It was actually coming off the private land, so I didn't know if somebody shot one or if somebody just saw a big deer exit the field there and kind of went to check it out. But it, it was a little bit disheartening. Here I'd walked pretty far already, but I'm like, you know what? That's just the way it goes. So I said, what do? You just keep going. So I just ducked off the grass field and went into the crappy stuff. So I started walking through the crappy stuff, marshy, grassy, and there's tracks in there and there's fresh poop. And I know there's this tiny little waterway that runs through there. And I started making my way to the edge of the water and started finding a couple of decent crossings. And I'm standing there right by this little tiny, I don't know if you can call it a creek, kind of a creek. And I'm just standing there kind of looking, the wind is in my face, and all of a sudden I hear something stand up right in front of me. And on a little tiny oxbow that I didn't even realize was there, this little buck, like a 7, I don't know, maybe a little tiny 7 or 8 pointer or 6 pointer or something, stands up like 12 yards away on the other side of the creek. He heard me walking, and he jumped the creek and ran right by me and took off. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. He's bedded right on that little oxbow.
And just to clarify, an oxbow,
like,
an oxbow is a bend in a stream, a creek, a river, right? Where they might be bedded on the inner side of it.
Correct.
So that river, or the little tiny waterway, it bent up to the north, made a little horseshoe, and headed back south. And with that southerly wind, he was just bedded with must have been his back to the wind and his belly to the creek, watching the creek and smelling anything behind him. And he just barreled off across the little creek and had no idea that I was there. He didn't smell me. He just heard me, and I walked around. And I thought, okay, I'll just let him pass. And I worked my way a little bit further down the waterway, and all of a sudden, right on the edge, there was a little crossing, and there was like 2 fresh, nice rubs on some alder trees. One of them had an old rub on it, and then this new rub was a little higher. That got me pretty excited. Some fresh buck sign. So I decided to cross right there and make my way toward what I thought was the bedding, the thicker stuff that I could see on the map. So I crossed and I followed that trail up. And shortly after crossing that creek, I could see a couple, just like 2 or 3 towering giant white oak trees in front of me. And it just started feeling better and better and better. And you just kind of knew, okay, I got to get somewhere near those oak trees because these deer are obviously bedded right here. So the wind was strong enough that it kind of covered my noise walking through this, green grass. I was pretty quiet, and I just made my way up super quiet, maybe another 60 yards, and there was more tracks, more poop. I didn't see any other rubs, but I was confident that if a buck was there, he was going to be heading toward those oak trees, probably even before he went to the hayfield or the cornfield, because those oaks were in good cover. So there's 2 huge oaks on my left, 1 big oak on my right, and I found the dead ash tree, of course. Mm-hmm. So a dead ash that had a little tiny oak in front of it to offer me a little cover. And it was right on the edge of where the marsh kind of opened up. It was all grassy dogwood brush in front of me, but I knew if I got up, I could see pretty good. So I put my sticks up, put my stand up, and as I got that stand up and I swung my leg up, got on the stand and looked out over that bedding area, man, it looked so nice. Like it just looked beautiful. You just knew there's got to be deer in there. It's thick and nice. So I wasn't sitting for too long. It's probably about 4:15, looking around. I was ranging stuff and sitting for a little bit. And I looked up, and in the open grassy stuff right in front of me, all of a sudden I just saw a rack coming through the grass.
Nice.
And thought, geez, oh man, that didn't take long. I threw up the binoculars and, nice 8-pointer, kind of looking behind him, see if he was a group of deer or if just him was moving. And my first thought was he's walking with the wind at his back toward a little patch of dogwood. And I thought, I bet you he's just moving. He's going to go bed in that patch of dogwood, which is about 45 yards away, 50 yards away. And he just was moving super slow, taking his time, feeding the whole way. Never 2 steps without taking a bite, moving slow like he didn't have a care in the world. And it's 4:30 in the afternoon, 3 hours before legal shooting almost. And I couldn't believe it. He's just meandering around. And So I tried taking a couple of videos. I got my phone and my binoculars, and if you've ever done that, you know how well that works.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh man, it took me like
sometimes
10
it works.
minutes to try to get it.
Yeah, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But you got decent footage, I thought, for doing that. I've done that before just to get a better picture of an object, but never tried videoing. So maybe you'll have to invest in a phone scope or something cool like that to attach your phone to your binos.
You know, I have a cheap knockoff one, and it's garbage. Sure. So I think that brand, specifically Phone Scope, is probably pretty good. I've seen a lot of good footage from them.
But you had that buck.
Yeah, they seem.
You had that buck in security cover, and he was very content, and life was good for him for a little while anyway.
Yeah, life was great. He the closest he was about 43 yards, and he was on the edge of the dogwood patch where I thought he was going to bed. And he started feeding, and then he went into it. And I was like, all right, odds are he's going to lay in there, and then around dark, he's going to make his way toward these oaks. Because that big white oak next to me, the one that was closest, had started dropping acorns. I could hear him, pinging and ponging off the branches. I'm like, music to my ears. He's going to hear that. Other deer are going to hear that. They're going to come. And about 10 minutes later, I saw him pop out on the opposite side of the dogwood, still just feeding, walking around. And for about 40 minutes, I just watched him. He maybe covered 40 yards in 40 minutes and was just browsing on everything. Wow. Super content. And watching him feed made me think that he was a little bit older than what I thought he was at first, just with his rack. I don't know. Young deer seem to move faster, and the older deer get, the slower they move, is what I've noticed. And he's just moving super slow. Good
observation.
Taking his time. And I was like, all right, maybe it's maybe this is a better buck than I think it is. And I'm trying to talk myself into, do I shoot it? Do I not? And it came down to it. I was thinking of my son and that day we had with the trail camera. And I'm like, God, it's early. If I get a shot 20 yards, I got to shoot this deer. And I can get the family out here, and it'll just be a good day. And eventually that's what he did. He worked in on a trail closer to the creek. And there's a trail about 20 yards from my stand. And he hit that trail. And I was at full draw already. He turned broadside, and I shot. And Greg, I saw your post from both of you guys with that shot that Greg had. The pass through that doe lengthwise was unbelievable. But I'm shooting the Vector custom arrows also this year.
Oh, you got a boy!
And,
sorry, that's exciting. We love those guys.
No.
Did you use our discount code?
No, I didn't. I got these. I got these last March. I talked to Mike. Is it Mike from Vector? Yeah, I talked to him I was in a car wash line in February, and I called him, and we discussed the whole thing, and I finally got the arrows. So I knew I wanted them for a while, but I shot that buck, and I had read a bunch that the heavier the arrow, everybody's ranch fairy dusted them. And people are saying, these deer don't know that they've been hit.
No.
So I shot this buck at 20 yards, perfectly broadside. The arrow passed through him. It was a good shot behind the shoulder. The deer didn't move. Literally, boom, I shot. He flinched, like he heard something, and he just stood there.
Yeah.
And then he bounded. When they jump real high, like they're, kind of trying to get away from danger, but they don't really know what the heck's going on.
Yeah, they don't know what happened.
He bounded up and down 5 times. He ran in front of me, so he maybe covered 12, 15 yards.
You're
and
like,
now
what
he's
happened?
At 27 yards in front of me. And he just stood there and looked around. And I was like, I swear to God, I hit him. I know I hit him.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he opened his mouth and he kind of started wheezing. I could hear his lungs. And I was like, okay, he's going to tip over. So I was getting my phone out. I was going to video it. And as I'm trying to get my phone out, I'm just watching him. And he stood there for almost a minute. And I was like, he didn't go down. It's been a minute. I started just feeling bad. Why am I going to video this deer when it's still on its feet? I need to get another arrow in it. I just don't like to see him suffer. So I knocked up another arrow, 27 yards, guessed at where his vitals were because there was a little bit of tall grass. I could see the outline of his back. But I put a second shot on, ended up hitting 2 inches from the first shot, right behind the shoulder again, passed through, and he literally just ticked over. He fell right there.
Done.
They probably said thank you for that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think he was suffering.
I got to say, those arrows, man.
Yeah. There's something, aren't they?
I wish they would have passed through a little less so I could find them. I haven't found them yet. They're in the grass somewhere. I got to go back and look. Those things aren't cheap, you know. I got to go find them.
I just watched a video today on the Heavy Arrow group. Well, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, it was
the guy shooting straws with lead in them. Did you see this?
I did not.
It's
I was pretty busy with work stuff, so I didn't
whatever.
Get a chance.
You
seriously,
dude.
Come on.
Anyway, but it was a really good illustration of like how FOC plays into things. I'll share the link or something, whatever. But that's interesting.
That's on the Heavy Arrow Hunt Club group on Facebook.
We just shared the most memorable hunt from Bill Thompson with Spartan Forge last night. I think I was in bed and I shared that, and he had a similar experience that he had shot the buck and it just acted like it didn't get hit. Took a couple steps and it was like, and then that was it. I called it the gangster buck because it reminds me of those Thug Life YouTube videos where they put the glasses on it and the joint in the mouth. You know what I'm talking about if you've ever seen these things. They're hilarious. But your deer is pretty hardcore. If it took five bounds, that's totally different. I was just showing a picture of the deer. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful buck.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, you did great.
Yeah.
You put a great shot on it.
And in a new area that you've not been exposed to. Like, how do you show up down here in our neck of the woods and get it done?
Listen to this guy. So you come onto our turf and then you shoot a deer.
I'm real happy for you.
I'm really happy for you, but come on now.
But knock it off.
But knock that shit off.
It really goes to show your ability to read a situation. Like you talked about heading out there, finding these buck tracks, like looking at fresh shine and then seeing a boot. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to go into the thick stuff. And you made a decision right there. The way you're thinking about things is interesting to consider because you were able to like close the gap and get it done. I love it.
It was, I don't know, just, it's always part luck, right? But you just gotta try to put yourself in the situation as best you can. And
right.
It seems to me that so this year we had a super early opener, right? I mean, it was like the 12th. And the older I get, the more I realize that the best hunting, everybody thinks it's, end of October, early November, but really it seems like if you got September dates, like September, and then those October, November dates seem to be the best, from what I've seen. I've seen more mature bucks either super early and I'm not saying the one I shot is super mature, he's a younger deer. I'm very happy with it, but I'm just speaking in general. I feel like I see those bigger bucks the first 2 weeks of season, and then October is a little bit tougher to get on them. You can get on them in the right spots. And then the end of October is my favorite. That last week in October.
You got crispy leaves and no leaves in the tree.
I started.
It's a beautiful time.
I feel like you can really get into some of your better spots early season if you got cooler weather. Go sit those good spots. They got all of October to cool back down, to forget about your presence. But it almost seems like get in there in the beginning and see what you can do, and then leave them alone for a little bit.
We've been running the Tactic Talk series, and it's been heavy focus on early season, and everybody that I've been talking to have been killers of big deer, and most of those series and episodics have been talking about early season, the deer that are on that pattern from food to bed, bed to food, early season where you can afford some mistakes and have some grace in your approach and be aggressive. This has enlightened me to a whole new approach. If you can stomach the mosquitoes, and if you're in Michigan, I'm sorry, you just can't hunt.
Oh. The mosquitoes, man, I have to say, mosquitoes are prone to whatever blood type I have, and I've been donating quite a lot, but I've been trying to get out.
They haven't carried you out of your stand yet.
On me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the bush light. I don't know.
The thermocells work, but I think you need a couple of them, honestly. One's not enough. In my opinion.
Yeah.
I did just learn that they have a dirt scent for the
disclaimer
thermocells.
here.
I didn't know that. Did you know that, Greg?
I did know.
Oh, of course you knew. Yeah, you never told me.
So So I got to throw a disclaimer out there too. I'm not saying that this location was like the hardest location to get to.
Doesn't have to be.
The picture with the kids, right? Like, I feel like guys, you see a picture with some kids in it, little kids like mine, and you're like, wow, that must have been a really easy spot. But I got to give props to my wife because she wrangled those kids. So I shot that buck. I called her from the stand. I was like, hey, it's super early. We got almost 2 hours of light. Like, you want to bring the kids out? I just shot a buck. And they were super excited to come. And I was like, awesome, I'll come pick you up in 20 minutes, or 30 minutes or whatever it was.
Sure.
I got to get my stand down and get out of here. And as soon as my feet hit the ground and I remembered that this was like a marsh, there was water, tall grass, I was like, this is a freaking nightmare. Like, how are we going to get 2 little kids back here? I remembered how far it was back to the car. And I immediately called my wife and I was like, hey, I don't think this is a good idea. And she's like, they're super excited to come. And I was like, all righty, see you in 30 minutes.
Okay.
And
Here's my drop pin.
I mean, it was a night. It was tough. There were tears. It wasn't all smiles and high fives. It was very difficult with the kids, but in the end, I'm glad we did it. But it was tough.
Yeah, I think our kids are super similar in age. My daughter just turned 3 and my son just turned 1. So like that would be my wife she is a sport. She is on board, but I would get lashings from the lift for a long time. And I'd be like telling a story with joy, like, oh, she came out with the kids, and she'd be like, I freaking hate you.
The point where it really hit the fan was, so I carried my son out there in like the backpack that you carry the kids in, it's got like the little supports and whatnot. And because the grass field we're walking through, there's tons of burrs. It's pretty tall. It's over my head, which isn't saying a lot because I'm pretty short. But it's pretty tall. So I was like, he's not going to be able to walk all the way out there. So I carry him. And then my daughter's in a school backpack that I cut holes in the bottom for her to sit in because we didn't have another one. So she's with my wife. And we cross a creek. So we go across that water, and my wife's like, "Oh my God, like, are we there yet?" And like,
It's
not too much further.
There, I promise.
Yeah, not far away.
I must have been further than I thought.
Yeah. He's right up here. I can smell him. Yep. Mm-hmm. And so we get out there, and then I got the deer and I flipped it over, so he's not seeing all of it, but he's interested a little bit. And all of a sudden, I'm like finishing up gutting and taking my knife and putting it away. And I look at my wife and I said, Ashley, how are we going to get out of here? I said, this deer probably weighs as much as I do, maybe more. And I'm going to carry 60 pounds on my back and drag this deer. I was like,
this is the best part of the story.
This is completely crazy. What was I thinking? So I don't know. I maybe made it 60 yards with him on my back and pulling this deer before I was like, I'm going to die. Like, this is horrible. So a friend of mine from the area who I actually met from shed hunting for moose, he lives in the area, and he was nice enough to end his hunt early and meet me out there. And the guy sprinted across the grass field and met me when I got the buck up to the edge of the grass field, and he helped me get it out, thank God. Otherwise, I'd probably still be pulling on that.
So, like, when the time of the photo, when your son's, like, sticking out his tongue, like,
yeah,
at that point, was it like, okay, let's take a picture, and mosquitoes are buzzing, like, the deer hasn't been gutted yet, you've just gotten there, all right, let's do the photo.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I could just hear the nightmare.
He's smiling. I'm like internally panicking because I'm like, we have like 12 minutes of light, and like we have one flashlight. I forgot my headlamp in the van.
Oh my God.
I'm like panicking. Like, we gotta gut this thing and get these kids out of the woods. So I'm trying to smile in the picture, but inside I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna be a nightmare.
You're never gonna hear the end of it. The story that's gonna be on the wall when you get this thing mounted, whether it's a European or a full mount, man.
Oh man,
the fact that your kids and wife are gonna be able to tell the story with you through their own lens.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we talked months ago when I talked to you guys last, how like the adventure style of hunting like really appeals, to some people, and even with the kids, like that adventure, like bringing them out there, and it's like as crazy as it was, like that's the kind of thing that's like going to stick with me. And then, like, my son is already talking about it constantly. Today we're eating dinner. He's like, Dad, do you want to put on camouflage and hunt big bucks? I was like, yeah, buddy, let's do it. Like,
Oh my God,
so
I
I
love
think
it.
it stuck with him a little bit. And like, it made me the biggest smile. I looked at my wife and she was like, uh-huh.
That's great. My daughter's like, do you want to snuggle and watch hunting? I'm like, what? Yes. And then we're watching like Meat Eater, right? But it's pretty great. And then the movie, what's that movie with all the balloons? Up. Adventure is out there. So she says that all the time. And I'm like, let's go on an adventure. And like adventure for us is like I bring her into the woods, right? And we hike and she thinks it's like the best thing in the world. Although she stops every half a second to pick up like a rock or a pine cone and we can't get anywhere ever. So it's rough.
She's not the only one. My son does the same thing.
I'm like, no, come on, keep moving, hurry up, stopping. We've gone 2 feet. It's been an hour. That's cool, man. Congratulations. And are you butchering it yourself, or are you taking it in somewhere? Or?
Well, funny that you asked, because, you know, as ill prepared as I was, we have the van there. I brought a bunch of, like, I had a tarp to put it in the back, but, you know, not ideal situation. So my friend who came out there and helped me drag, thank God for him, but he's got a truck, and he's like, you know what? He's like, just throw it in my truck. He goes, I make my own schedule at work. I'll run it into a meat place that I know of. It's right by your house. And I'll drop it off in the morning. You just give him a call and tell him what you want him to do with it. Because I had to work on, you know, a Sunday night. So Monday morning I'm at school. So he was, you know, like a godsend to help me out and take care of it. So I stopped in there yesterday when I was done with work, and they they're going to save the head for me. I'm just going to do a European mount on it.
Beautiful.
And I told them what kind of steaks and whatnot I'm going to get. And normally I like to do it myself, but it was just not going to work with it being warm on Monday, and I'd have to leave it sit all day. I just didn't want to risk it. So I'm just going to get it processed at a place.
Yeah. That's not terrible at all. That's great. Hopefully they do a good job. Are you getting any special cuts out of it or anything?
No, I do full, non-butterflied, full loins, all the steaks you can get out of the hams.
Yep.
And then I'm just having the rest made up into burger, and then I like to make my own stuff with the burger meat, you know.
Sure.
Do some sausage and jerky and whatnot. And
Cool.
so that's the plan. And then I got a couple of dough tags, so I got a new saddle on the way. It's coming right now.
Oh,
so
what'd you
I'm hoping
choose?
to do some dough whacking. Actually, a guy that I met just on a saddle hunting forum, he's been making a few of his own, and it's kind of a knockoff of, hate to say it, but, you know, kind of playing off of some of the bigger companies' designs. And he set me up with a design he made that's similar and affordable. So he custom made it for me.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, wow. How exciting is that? You know, I was just talking to a buddy of mine like earlier today, and he's like, man, when you get a saddle, like, I want to come try it, because like I want to see what it's like before I pull the trigger. So there's a lot, and there's no trade shows this year. And honestly, at trade shows you can try them out, and because of COVID, you're not able to do that. So I have a couple coming from oh my God, Latitude Outdoors, the Method. And, I'm excited to try those out. I had hunted out of an arrow, or not an arrow.
I was an arrow hunter.
No, Anthony did the arrow, and I did the tethered.
You did the tethered mantis, maybe.
Yeah, I hunted with Deervane last year. I'm going to hunt with him again this October, early October. But I tried a saddle last year, and I loved it. And it's so funny because there's all this, like, rhetoric around, like, oh, try a saddle, and you never shut up, right? And so I don't mean to be that person, but honestly, it was a really good experience. There was not a lot to say negative about it at all. In fact, it was so much on the positive side of the scale that I'm like, okay, I got to do this. So I'm patiently, eagerly awaiting the arrival of my Latitude Outdoor saddles, and so Greg and I can try them out and put them to the test. But Greg, you haven't tried a saddle yet, have you?
Right.
No, I've not saddle hunted them. I've always been either off the ground or on a tree stand. Always a lone wolf.
You're bigger than me, so maybe you'll get the 2-piece.
Really? Thanks.
Atta girl.
Yeah, I had the Arrow Hunter. I think it's a Kestrel. Kestrel saddle, probably for 3 years, and I like it. You know, it's enjoyable, but I find myself almost 50-50 between the tree stand. I still use my tree stand a lot. What I found about the saddle that I liked, especially up north in the big woods, is with my saddle, and then I cut down my lone wolf sticks and kind of did the mini stick thing a couple of years ago. And you can just get around so easy that, like, if you're ever doing like a scout, like I'm going to scout till I find good sign, like you can't beat wearing a saddle and carrying little, mini sticks.
You're like a
you can go anywhere
ninja.
you want.
You're
Like,
just so
it's not
nimble.
it's like wearing nothing.
Yeah, it changes. Like, honestly,
That's
for
the
me, it like
beauty.
changes my mindset. Like having a stand on your back, you just feel like a freaking turtle. It's just not.
You move like a turtle, so
I don't want to hear it, man. I'm a ninja. Okay,
a
regardless.
ninja turtle.
When I was a kid, I pretended to be a ninja like all of my childhood. I watched like
That's
the
not what
Three
your mother
Ninjas,
said.
the Karate Kid. By the way, the Netflix series,
Cobra Kai?
like
No. Lame.
confession. Have you even watched it yet?
We've been watching it. It's
Bullshit.
lame as shit.
Bullshit. Then you didn't watch enough Karate Kid.
It's lame as shit. Ralph Macchio, not a good actor. Sorry. It's totally lame.
Oh man.
See, rabbit hole. Here we go. Went from talking about cool stuff to lame shit like Cobra Kai.
Weigh in, folks. Weigh in. Are you a Cobra Kai? Are you LaRusso?
No.
Oh man.
Like if you were born in I was born in 86. Okay, so
Yeah,
like
you're a young pup.
I'm like right there. Like I am their target demographic. I'm like, you feed me more. I'm all about it. It's a problem.
I'm 87, Eric, so I'm right there with you.
Bunch of youngins.
That's so great. But no, the saddles, you really do feel nimble, lightweight. For honestly, like I hung the stand that you had lent me. Mm-hmm. And
Which was the heavier, the bigger, the bulkier.
and that doesn't matter. But like, look, I'm not really well equipped for. Like, I didn't have the thing that keeps me attached to the tree the whole time I'm hanging sticks.
No, and I almost questioned if you did because I had a spare lineman's belt that you could have borrowed with the carabiners.
So here I am,
on
like
it.
trying to
Yeah.
sling across the thing, and like.
See, this is what happens when
him and Han
you
for
and
me.
I don't hunt enough together. So now I know what I have to give you for Christmas or a
When I did the
birthday
saddle,
or something.
I never left the safety of
No, because you
sticks
have
up
it
to
on
the
there.
tree.
It's
So,
on there already.
I'm the whole time thinking, I'm like, boy, oh boy, if I fall out of this effing tree.
That is one of the huge benefits to a saddle.
Yep.
Your safety harness is built in.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yep.
So
And
all you
there's a lot
need,
of metal.
you need sticks and you need something to stand on when you get to the top, whether it's a platform
Or a stick.
a ring of sticks or a ring of steps or something. You need something to be able to maneuver around on top.
So when I hunted with deer band, it was just a stick with two prongs, right? It was just like a full stick, and it was the muddy, what is it?
Muddy stick.
Yeah, the muddy stick.
And those are pretty durable. Derek, what are you using? Are you using a platform or are you were you stand hunting this go around?
So when I got the buck this year, so I sold the Kestrel saddle that I had to afford this new one. So I've been hunting out of my lone wolf all season. I got, I think Greg, you got the same one as me. I got the old sand casted aluminum lone wolf, the lighter one.
The lighter
and
one.
What I did is I took my, I took the seat post. I had an alpha stand, took the seat post off. It's
You and
got
I
the platform adjustability, so you can level it.
Yep.
Threw that on there, and then the seat off of the old lone wolf is what all the saddle hunter guys like for making a platform.
Sure.
So I made myself a platform, and then I've also got a ring of steps. My dad just had a bunch of old Ameris steps that he bought 30 years ago and never used. So I got a ring of steps. I actually prefer the ring of steps. I like having my feet on both sides of the tree. My knees never have to rest against the tree.
Would you
Where
consider
if you're
getting
using a
knee
platform-
pads for that? Because I thought that like immediately when I was hunting, I was like, oh man, if I had
He's
knee
not a knee
pads.
pad guy because his legs fit on both sides of the tree. He's saddling like a horse.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got knee pads because I've got that that lone wolf. I made that platform out of the seat. But bring in that and then bring in the knee pads. It works better for me. It feels more comfortable for me just to use the ring of steps. So I actually prefer the ring of steps.
Sure.
And it burns, the ring of steps. There's just something there, guys. There's something there.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're close.
It doesn't burn, but it kills the deer.
It's Johnny Walker Black
Your
Label.
legs
That's
will
what's
burn after
there.
your first hunt of the season.
So when you got the buck that
As long as your
got,
pee doesn't burn.
that's right. Wherever gets your pee hot, Greg. Did you were you hunting out of saddle or stand when you got that big guy?
understand.
Okay.
You weren't listening, were you?
Well, I was, but I just needed to refresh.
You had an agenda.
Probably responding to someone on the thing.
ADD, I tell you.
Levi Carey made a
Levi.
dirty remark about
Levi.
pads. Someone was gonna do it. It had to be him.
Yeah, Levi would do it.
You son of a
Thanks,
gun.
Levi. You took it right away from me. It's good. I didn't have to say it.
I tell you.
Anyway, Derek, you were saying,
No problem.
As you were.
as you were.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to kill a couple deer out of the saddle, and they each have their place.
Yep.
It's, whatever kind of terrain you're hunting, whatever your plan is for the day, you kind of make it match. But I like having both.
It's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play some AC/DC for sure. Did you hear? We had a memorable hunt. Who remind me again, Greg? Maybe you know who was it? Oh yeah, it was Deers and Beers.
Deers and Bears.
That play. He's like This wasn't even a joke.
Ted Nugent.
He actually played Ted Nugent, Fred Bear on his cell phone.
With his ear pods in.
And then a buck showed up. He's like, I reach into my bag of tricks, and I kid you not, I played Fred Bear by Ted Nugent, and out came the buck.
If you don't follow those guys, you need to go follow those guys because
they're
they're
good dudes.
pretty entertaining and they're good dudes.
One dude's like, our age, older kids, living life. And then the other's like this college kid that just beer bongs all the time. So it's a good balance.
They're cousins.
Good balance.
Oh, shoot.
That's great. That's great.
Well, dude, this has been fun. I'm sorry that you weren't here in studio to hang out with us, but I think at some point we'll make that happen. Like we're not going anywhere. We'll be around for a long time, and I don't think you're going anywhere. In fact, you're even closer to us, so it's even more likely that that'll be the
and
case.
if nothing else, we're getting together to shoot some bows, or we're gonna go crash our pal Dave's house. Dave's probably not listening.
I think
He's
that's
been
in
listening.
order.
I think it is in order. So maybe, Dave, we're coming for you.
That's right.
We don't know when yet, but we are coming for you.
And I promise you, I will lose an arrow in your backyard.
Yeah,
Or I'll
if you
kill a
guys ever
tree.
want to come help look for some vector arrows, I've got a pair of them lost in the grass field.
You let me know.
Maybe
I
not
will.
those ones, but any future. If you need some help tracking, I'm that far.
Maybe you and I need to go up and quote unquote scout that area and find your arrows come spring when the grass lays down.
Yeah,
We can do
that
that.
sounds good to me.
Oh yeah.
It's cool. By the way, if you want to enter our giveaway, you can win some Vector Custom Strap arrows. They're part of the giveaway, so you'll get half a dozen if you win. If you win.
Well, that'd put me right back where I need to be, so I'm gonna have to do that.
The odds are actually pretty good. I think we only have like 12 or 13 members, so like we're giving away like 7 things. So you're gonna win something. There's a really strong chance.
Those are 12 or 13 people that feel really sorry for us.
What do you mean?
Or they just like us that much.
Yeah, good point.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Pity party of 13.
They probably like you guys.
Look, the
I
money
hope
just
so.
goes towards the giveaway. That's what happens. Like we don't actually like do anything with the money other than go buy the stuff that you're gonna win. So you're just paying us to pick what you're gonna win, which is kind of funny.
Maybe one of these. Hey, maybe one of these days we can work in. I can paint up like one of the turkey feather paintings that I do. I can make up
Dude.
a cool.
Oh, we'll throw that
I
in.
didn't even
So you
think
guys
about
can-
that. That would be freaking awesome.
That's a good giveaway idea. We do them every 3 months. So like the next one's we're announcing it September 30th. So that's the end of Q3. So then we'll do another one at the end of Q4. So that'll be like New Year's. I think that'll be our
that'd
next
be
one.
good.
Yep. It'll be our third one. So this is our second one coming up. The first one went pretty well. We gave away Vector arrows. We gave away Venado stuff, Okayus Hunter stuff. We gave away, what's the other bigger thing? We gave away some free butchering from Outdoor Addiction Taxidermy.
Taxidermy. We did a tethered man.
A tethered mantis saddle.
Saddle?
That's right. Yeah, we bought that.
This go around, where do we? At Exodus camera and
Exodus Lift 2 and a
solar
panel.
which is nice because if you're running, even if you're running, like I always run lithium ion batteries in mine. I've
They're
had
not
enough.
cheap.
No, they're not. But I've had enough bad experience with alkaline batteries in my cameras where
Yep.
temperature change, the damn things leak. All of a sudden, you got a corroded battery tray. I don't have that problem with the lithium ion batteries. Yes, they're expensive, but I'll have to change alkalines twice depending on the weather If it's winter, I'll probably have to change them 3 times. And the time I have to change them, have to change lithium ion batteries once. I know they're expensive.
Dude, not to brag, but earlier this fall, this summer, I was at Costco. We were doing some grocery shopping, and they had a 20-pack of Energizer Ultimate Lithiums.
Yep.
For I think it was like $9.99 for 20 batteries, which is 50
you
cents
pirate.
I bought like 200 lithium batteries.
You are a pirate.
Crap. So then, if you get the solar panel,
yeah, that thing kicks on and does what it can to. You might get 4 or 5 months out of battery. It all depends on the location. Solar panel is only going to work if you get good solar gain.
Yep.
You have to have it in an area where the sun's hitting it. So if it's an edge of a bean field, like Derek and I are setting some of our stuff on, and you can get that thing up in the sun for most of the day.
That's money.
That's money.
Yeah.
You're not worried about changing batteries.
Right.
By from June to September.
So we're giving away that, and then also an HHA Tetra site, a single pin Tetra.
That's a nice site.
An HHA USA hat and shirt.
Yep.
Here's the thing, man. I can't remember on call specifically all the
another
stuff.
set of vector arrows.
Yep.
Some Okeus Hunter stuff. Some of our stuff.
I think some heated hunt stuff.
Yep. It might be some heated hunt.
And then we're gonna just go buy some random shit at the end, the day before.
So anybody who wants to win some random shit.
Whatever
Sign on
Greg
up.
and I decide. And then some Where to Hunt swag. My wife has been making these tumblers.
They're nice tumblers.
That look like wood.
Oh yeah. I remember the tumbler.
She
Did we win
made
one of those?
She made a few more. So I have a couple in the can. My goal is for us to sell some of those on the site, but I just keep giving them away. So I have a few that I'm ready to give away, and so I'll throw in a koozie and a sticker and a decal and all that stuff. So it's I'll just stack that into the mug. But yeah, it's fun.
Eric, how do you do it? How do you enter it again? How do you enter your contest? What do you gotta do?
I think so. Just go to wheretohuntapp.com, and then we have a page on our site that is called giveaways, I believe. Oh boy, where is it?
Oh, I see smoke.
Hold on here. Look at you, put me on the spot.
I'm glad you did that.
Well, I just wanted to enter. I wasn't trying to put you on the spot.
No. We're gonna figure this out. So it's wheretohuntapp.com/giveaways, and that will put you in the place to sign up.
Get signed up and.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta skirt some rules because Patreon says, hey, this sounds like gambling. You can't do that. So I had to put some stuff on our website that explained everything and then forward people onto Patreon because they were gonna kick me off of their platform. So it is what it is. Anyways,
cool.
wheretohuntapp.com/giveaways. You'll find the home there. Otherwise, Instagram, there's a link in our bio and all that jazz. So, but where can people find your stuff?
Yeah, where can we find you?
So I got an Instagram. It's The Great Outdoors, Artdoors, and I don't have a ton of art stuff on there. It's mostly just family and hunting stuff. So mainly hunting stuff. And then I don't know. I have an art page on Facebook just called Derek Malcore Art Page, but it's not super duper up to date. I need to do better on that. But yeah, anytime somebody messages, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, I do a lot of commission pieces that I don't have pictures of on there. So that's a good way to reach me if anybody's interested in mostly wildlife artwork and deer, fish, turkey, all that good stuff. So you can find some of those pictures on Instagram and on Facebook, Derek Malcore Art Page.
And then you have one other thing that I'm aware of. Your obsession with trail cams is about as bad as mine is. Don't you have something to do with that as well?
Yeah, my buddy Dave Bechtel and I started a Wisconsin Whitetail Trail Cam page back when we were in college as a way for us to share trail cams with each other before the days of, texting pictures. It's so easy. So we used to do that, and we've grown a little following there. Nothing crazy, but we do a little posting on there. That's on Facebook and Instagram. Wisconsin Whitetail Trail Cam.
Excellent.
Oh, rock on. That's you guys. Okay, cool. If I'm not a part of that, I might be, but I'll have to make sure that I am if I'm not.
Cool.
Well, cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks for having me, guys. It was
Absolutely.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, anytime. And thanks for coming on with us. Everybody, that we're going to go ahead and end the live broadcast. So thanks for tuning in. We'll get this thing broadcasted tonight.
Have a good night.